God blimey, is it autumn already?
So you can't do an autumn project without using autumn colours. So to begin with, I'm bringing out my brown colours. So we've got potting soil, tree branch and a blurry sepia. These are all archival inks, so they will be permanent when dry. So to start, I'm doing a stamp background. I'm going to begin by using the potting soil archival ink and this photopolymer script stamp that I've had forever in my collection. I can't even remember where it comes from. I've had it for that long. Next up is this dinky dragonfly stamp from Indigo Blue, and I'm going to be using the tree branch archival ink and stamping this randomly around the page. Not too bothered about getting an even impression because I know it is going to be in the background, and I'm just going to stamp these all over. So I'm happy with the dragonfly, so I'm just going to have a quick tidy up and clean up of any excess ink that's on my craft mat, and then I'm going to bring out my third stamp. This is a raindrop stamp from Indigo Blue. It's about A2 size, so it's such a large one. I want to make sure that I get an even impression on this, so I'm using this device called a rocker block, and it's from a company called CRAFTER'S Companion. And as you can see, you just rock the block from side to side and you get a perfect impression. So that's it for stamping. I have my layers that I want in the background, so I'm going to give them a quick blast with the heat gun to dry them off, and then it's time to add some colour. So for that I'm using the Saffron archival ink and an ink blending tool, and I'm just going to blend some colour from the outside into the centre of my page, and obviously making sure that I remove the masking tape that was holding it down this time so that I don't get any little white spots on the edges. So that's enough of the saffron. It's time to bring in the tiger lily. So this is an orangey colour, as you can see. So I'm going to just blend those colours together in the background. So time to add something a little bit darker. This time I'm going for the vermilion red, as you can see, and again I'm just going to introduce a little bit of that red colour into the outside of my page and just bring it in where I think it's needed. And remember, this is still my background, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't matter if you don't get your blending exactly right. So as I said, it is background, so you're okay to make a few mistakes here. So it's time to add some collage elements. I've had a bit of a tidy up and a bit of a clean up so that I don't get any ink all over my tissue pieces. Now these are from a napkin that was sent to me in Happy Mail a long time ago. Unfortunately it's been separated from the rest of the stuff that was sent, so I can't remember who sent it to me. So whoever it was, thank you so much. And as you can see, I'm going to be sticking these down with a little bit of the matte medium from Mod Podge. I'd never use satin or gloss. I only ever use matte. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is that I have had a few questions recently asking me why my pages don't stick together. Well, I found from my own personal experience that if I use the satin or the gloss Mod Podge, that the pages, or my pages, do stick together. So I stopped using it in favour of the matte. And since then, my pages hardly ever stick together. So happy with the positioning of my tissue pieces, and they're now all stuck down and all nicely sealed. So it's time to bring out the heat gun to give them a quick blast to make sure that it's all nice and dry, and then I can trim off the excess from the outside and around the edges of my page. Now that the excess has been gotten rid of, I can bring back my ink blending tool. I've still got some ink left on it, so I'm just going to go around the edges just to add a little bit of a border just on those raw edges where I've just trimmed off. So for my next layer, I'm going to be bringing out my gilding flakes. So this is the indigo blue flitter glue, which is how I begin to prepare to add the gilding flakes. Now, as you can see, I've applied the flitter glue onto a piece of fat foam, which is very similar to the cut and dry, and I'm just loading the fat foam up with the glue. As you can see, it does sink in quite well, turning the piece of foam into a makeshift glue pad. Now, you have seen me do this in the past with paint, and you can also do this with glue. And this is the indigo blue raindrops stamp again, and as you can see, I'm just lightly dabbing the stamp with the glue on the pad. And when I'm happy I've got the entire of the stamp covered with the glue, I'm just going to roll or rock my stamp across my page, and I'm just going to do it very, very lightly and very gently. Now, the technique for this is that you do it as though you were kissing your mother-in-law. You do it quickly and do it very lightly. And the beauty of using the flitter glue is that you could now leave this page for about an hour and the glue would still be tacky when you came back. So it's great. You can either do it straight away, or you can wait for a bit, you can have a break, have a cup of coffee, and then bring out your flake. So this is the Yorkshire Dales Mega Gilding Flake. Now, this is just what I've got left. I have used most of this now. I need to replenish my stock, and all I'm doing is just lightly covering the area where I know the glue is, and I'm just very, very gently rubbing the flake onto the glue. This is just one of many colours of the gilding flakes that is available to purchase from Indigo Blue. I believe at the moment there have about 12 different colours of gilding flake, which is a phenomenal choice. So I'm happy now that all of the areas where the glue is have now got a covering of the gilding flake. So the only thing left to do is just to have a little bit of a tidy up and clear up as much of that gilding flake as you can to stop you getting it all stuck in every single piece of fabric or stuck to your fingers and elbows. So I'm just going to have a quick clear up before I remove the excess from the page. And to remove the excess, I'm using this. It's a piece of coarse foam known as a scoochie, and all I'm doing is just very, very gently rubbing the page which is removing any of the excess gilding flake that isn't attached to any of the glue. So where it's attached to the glue, it will stay. If it's not near any glue, it will come off the page. And all that's going to be left is the pattern, as you can see, of the stamp that you've used. Hands up those who love a bit of autumn bling. I'm going to pop that to one side for now so I can work on my next little embellishment for the page. This is the very same dinky dragonfly stamp that I used earlier, and I'm still using the glue that was, or the flitter glue that was on the fat foam from earlier on. I haven't replenished it. It's still, you can still get a lot of use out of it. So I've stamped with the dragonfly, as you can see, and I'm just going to cover over with the remnants of my gilding flake and just lightly rub the gilding flake onto the glue. And I'm going to repeat the exact same process on this that I did on the page with the raindrop stamp. And there you have one gilded dragonfly. My idea was to add the tag to my page, but I decided against it. Instead, I decided to cut the dragonfly out of the tag and stick the dragonfly on as it is. And once the dragonfly is cut out, I'm just going to go around the edges with that ink blending tool just to kind of tone in the dragonfly with the rest of the elements on my page. So I'm just adding some of that colour that's already in the background to the edges of the dragonfly. And when I add the dragonfly to my page, I want a little bit of dimension, so I'm just adding a couple of foam pop dots to the back, and then I'm going to just pop it to one side in preparation for producing my title and my quote for the page. So the quote for this page I have done on my computer. All I've done is just typed out the phrase that I want to use, and I've printed it off using my inkjet printer, and then cut the word blocks out just using a pair of scissors. And all I'm doing here is just going around the edges with that potting soil archival ink, just to kind of dirty up the edges a little bit to help it blend into the background of the page, because these are kind of stark white, but I have used a kind of autumny, kind of rust colour for the text. I'm not going to stick these down using the matte medium. I'm going to just use this Collage glue stick, which is just a bog standard kind of craft glue stick you can purchase practically anywhere. And now that my quote is securely in place, I can just tap down my dragonfly in its final resting place. And there you get to see the full effect of that beautiful gilding flake on the page. So I'm just reopening the holes for my book ring so that it goes back in my journal. And then the only thing left for me to do now is just to sign and date the journal page, and then I'm going to call it done. So I hope you enjoyed watching this art journal page come together. Adding that gilding flake to the page just gives it that certain bit of something extra. Having that little bit of shine really does make the big difference. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching this art journal page come together from start to finish. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of this video. That's all from me for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again real soon. Bye for now. And I'd like to thank all of my angels. Without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.